For Shutua 10 years, Omido has been newcomer the Owino Uhuru countryside, tracking the different illnesses, deaths and miscarriages how include occurred with a neighboring melting furnace polluted the countryside's air and water supply in conduct. She passes via the rows of little, dirt-walled homes how do up the tightly packed countryside and pokes her chief via the door of her at first trip, Catherine Okolo, a little, morbid 35-year-old female. On the sofa following to Okolo, Omido listens to her say in a gentle, peaceful vote how she's hardly corroded in 2 weeks. Adjoining to them are 2 edged photos, one of Okolo's 5-year-old son steadfast in the chamber, and else of his box. Omido tells Okolo to package a few items of clothes, she is necessary to go to the physician, Omido says. Once, Catherine's entire household was vulnerable to really top conduct levels, Omido says of the sick mom. I refuged he understood reason, since they weren't the ones residing nearest to the conduct plant. Up drive Okolo to the clinic, Omido visits some sick villagers, Robert Oshaiko, an old man who newly incurred a course, and David Mahola, a medium-aged man whose kidneys are lack. Omido conducted Okolo to the clinic and corset in her before she's acknowledged. She later drives in time polar to a little coast town, inbound at a walled connection wherever she's undertaken shelter with November. She's concealment there, she says, time a litigation she registered versus the Kenya by the government and the melting furnace owners plant its way via the trial framework. She undoes the 3 locks on her frontline doorway and disarms the safety framework, installation downward her wallet, that houses a little dark GPS tracker reminiscent of pager, she carries it in her where she goes. Down there's been a lot of safety challenges, she would after tell. All period we go to trial, we go by assault. Lifetime or death position, Omido, 39, is one of Kenya's largest candid ecological activists. She's been duplicated the East African Aaron Brockovich, and her job has led to the formwork of 10 toxicity waste management smelting in Kenya in the history 3 year. Really, lot of Omido's job has been at large hazard, to herself, her household, and her associate families. She's been constructively attacked repeated times and is always endangered. She says she's been detained on 5 various occasions, but never condemned. Her associate lives include as well been endangered, their homes break in or burnt. He's rather unhappy how we include to go via all the, Omido says in a little shake. These humane rights atrocity erode the capacity of common Kenyans to search ecological protect out of terror, the UN declaration reads. It is urgent how the Kenya by the government conducted efficient actions once to defend these ecological defenders. Social prosecutorial contacted regional police force 3 times to ask for any received information, told Mary Wanjiru, a representative for the office space of the CEO of Social Prosecutions. They acquired no answer, Wanjiru told. Heavy vapor, painful water supply. Omido never dreamed of proper and militant, but the question of conduct poison became private following her son was unborn. She began job at the Conduct Acid Cell Recirculation Factory, Metal Refinery EPZ, as a society relations officer in 2009, the other year of the factory's transactions. The melting furnace exported blocks of clean conduct by take utilized car batteries and extract the conduct of them with a specific oven. In infringement of Kenya Ecological and Humane Rights Act, the plant's melting trial would radiate vapor, powder and entering loaded in conduct suspended particles, onto a 2015 paper by the Ministry of Public Health. Tasked in evaluating the melting furnace's ecological effect, Omido done a gloomy opening. She found the plant's position, immediately following to Owino Uhuru, leftward the approximately 3,000 residents down there sensitive to conduct exposition. She suggested to control the plant be relocated, and was sacked of the draft, she says. 3 months in her work, Omido's baby child, Tsar David, start vomit often, his dengue spiking every day. Omido driven him to the clinic, wherever tests for ague, typhus, and rotavirus all came behind adverse. Stumped, Omido acted on a company worker's guideline she testing her son for conduct poison. His bloodstream came behind favorable for conduct at a bet of 35 micrograms per deciliter. Whatever over 5 micrograms per deciliter is about, on to the Center for Diseases Monitoring. Her physician said her Tsar David had potential ingested conduct via her chest breast milk. Omido showed her child's testing results to a officer at job and was taking into account a verify for her child's care billing on the word treaty how she would not go social in her received information, she says. She took the cash and abandoned. Worried some family were creature struck, Omido later proven the conduct levels of 3 family of Owino Uhuru. All tests came behind favorable for conduct, at 12, 17, and 23 micrograms per deciliter. Meantime, villagers were affliction the melting furnace's toxicity effects. At overnight, the plant spewed heavy, dark fume of its chimneys. Owino Uhuru residents told they would occasionally include to sleeping external to escape strangling on the vapor how would blow via their windows and be captured in their homes. Plant emissions would as well reason acidity rainfall, mix in the ground and consuming via villagers' pleated metal roofs. We utilize to get rainfall water supply of the roofs, explains Owino Uhuru inhabitant Rosa Obaya. We utilize to use it for national intake, potable, kitchen, swimming, but all of a flash, we carried out how the rainfall water supply has a painful flavor. It wasn't regular. Villagers as well noted a tan, cloud entering creature liberated of bottom the plant side. The fluid would stream sloping via the countryside and collect at a little flesh of congestive water supply wherever family play and residents would paint their water supply. Bellyache, vertigo, diarrhea, cough and tiredness became overall complaints amongst Owino Uhuru residents. Family and adults began evolving big, flaky leather rashes. Several female began to throw out, occasionally often. I am frightened, I terror the identical item will occur once again, Nabwire said the interviewer. Nabwire after dead time give her childbirth to a infant little boy. A position mortem examination shows her bloodstream conduct standard was proven the year up at a astounding 238 micrograms per deciliter. Other would as well dead. Catherine Okolo, up declining bad, lose her 10-monthly-old son Victor to conduct poison. Her some child, 5-year-old Sammy, as well dead, his bloodstream conduct standard was 13 micrograms per deciliter. Generally, Omido says she's written 79 deaths in Owino Uhuru of conduct-related ailments, consisting 46 family. She as well written 124 miscarriages among 2010 and 2014, while the melting furnace was in transactions. In 2015, the government carried out bloodstream tests on 50 Owino Uhuru residents. All residents proven favorable for the present of conduct, and part of them had bloodstream conduct levels recognized hazardous by the Center for Illness Monitoring. On to the Planet Public Health Organization, down there is no named secure standard of exposition to conduct. Permanent up to men in 2010, following a plant employee fainted and dead, Omido organized a demonstrate. She stood in some villagers external the gates of the plant, lifting signs and weeping out conduct kills, while Parliament term Ramadhan Kajm, later the Aid Secretary for Environmental, arriving at the stage. He told the melting furnace had created jobs for the society, Omido recalls. She says he openly charged her of hard to instigate society members. She endangered to show him her child's lab testing results, certificated by the town's head care tester. Or at house spot he orderly his bodyguards to beat up me, she says in a little, surprised smiling. As, I climbed on a motorcycle and escaped. Following the at first outcry, the Domestic Environmental Control Credibility orderly the melting furnace to shut, quoting the plant's absence of accordance in security requirements. The plant was closing provisionally, but rapidly newly opened following the Public Justice of Mombasa solved the plant had done in its requirements. The email writing campaigning extended. Omido solved to phase else demonstrate in 2012. By later, the quantity of patient human beings had lost really top, she says. Human beings were not capable to be efficient not capable to go to job since they were vulnerable to really heavy fume all overnight. At test, a attorney reasoned how Omido was transport a gunshot the day of the demonstrate, Omido claims. Following police force were incapable to ensure testimony of an official took the stay to witness. He told the largest hazardous gun I had was my jaw, Omido recalls in a laughter. Or how while I tell to society members, they would do which I told, so how should be deliberate a gun? Omido was justified. She would be detained 4 persons more than times. Every period, she was detained night, never loaded, and ultimately liberated. After how year, time yet residing in Mombasa, she refundable household one night in her son to discover 2 gunman men at her valve. One of the men hit her in the behind of the chief in the drum of his cannon, challenging her to drop. Tsar David, now a kid, began to scream. Of the land, she begged them to let her get her son within. They coordinated. She came behind external and they hit her once again, knock her brief subconscious. One of her neighbors later stretched up to the valve in his vehicle. In the flare of his headlights, the men fled. This just item I could recall they told was how I was an haughty man and how I was hard to stay up to men in the community, she recalls. So how jammed in me. I knew the was on Owino Uhuru. The was not a regular looting. She once fled Mombasa and relocated to a little coast city, wherever she extended her propaganda job. Next a tertiary demonstrate in 2013, Nemo once again orderly the melting furnace to be close. 3 weeks following it closed downward, fume emissions once again billowed of the plant's chimneys. Just in 2014, following Kenya done export piece metal illicit did the plant constantly shut. Owino Uhuru goes to trial at low, currently, the air was pure. But the ground and water supply were yet polluted, Omido told of the plant's close. So began her mission statement to get the struck residents of Owino Uhuru uncompensated for their affliction. In 2015, a by the government task force signed metal refinery EPZ unsuccessful to balance sheet its economical concern versus social public health concern and ecological concerns. As a homeowner I was not implicated in the date-to-date operative of the business, no one did I include the examination to define, at the one phase probable, how ominous activities, in very hazardous result were departure on in the space, he told to the norm. The task force paper found how this position in Owino Uhuru settlements and its surroundings became which it is present since the different legal frameworks were not rigorously bound for. Absence of nice waste management control practices by both of plant control and pertinent by the government agencies much introduced to conduct exposition during the plant space and its instant surroundings, the paper adds. The paper recommends, amongst some things, clean up the environmental of Owino Uhuru and provided care treat to such struck. No of such recommendations were executed, Omido says. She felt the just stock option was to go to trial. She collected a fistful of Owino Uhuru residents who were exposing signs of conduct poison. Such as Kelvin Mujiaka, a youthful boy whose leg began to rot following he stepped in a pool of polluted sediment, Omido says. She mentioned them in a great activity fit versus the by the government and the companies related in the plant. One day a social note of the instance was published in a regional paper, Omido says the threats enlarged. She would get lyrics messages of unidentified numbers, needing she halt the litigation of driving striker. 3 Owino Uhuru residents who treated clothes in Omido, Anastasia Nambo, Willie Fred Kamenku and Alfred Agala, as well were endangered. Nambo says her household was break-in. Both of Kamenku and Agala say their houses were set on flame. Present, Nambo and Agala both of conduct the identical GPS tracker as Omido. Recent year in April, as Omido was landing a flying to Johannesburg to visit an ecological summit conference, she acquired a telephone urge of an unidentified quantity. Wherever is yours child, a odd vote on the some link claimed. Reason do you wish to aware wherever my son is, she requested the unknown. Sames in risk, told the vote, and later a clicking. Silent. Panicky, Omido named a boyfriend and begged her to choose up Tsar David of high school and get him to Nairobi, wherever he would be comparatively secure. The following date, Omido heard Kamenku's son was stolen on his way household of high school. He rotated up 3 days after, unscathed. Yet the threats were yet upcoming, Kamenku told. Currently, Omido has a kind of safety regulations in location. Her office space and household are decked out in closed-circuit TV cameras. She owns 10 dogs, 5 of that she trains as assault dogs, some 5 are learned to discover explosives. She close monitors her child's location. To hold her siblings out of risk, she speak them wherever she lives. She's advanced monitoring and vacuum procedures, signals, secure speech to be utilized for emergencies. Generally I pray, although I get a lot of safety regulations, she says. A regular lifetime Mombasa Governor Hassan Joho admits by the government as necessary to do more than to address the affliction in Owino Uhuru. He accused the omission on the nation's selector in 2013 of a public justice to a shire by the government framework. To his letter of credit, the shire has coded several Owino Uhuru residents' care billing accumulated of conduct-related illnesses. For 6 months, the shire proposed countryside members zinc and calcium intake addition, that can reduction conduct focus in the bloodstream. They driven calcium intake and zinc for fair a brief time, told Anastasia Nambo, a fellow of Omido. Several were taking into account perhaps one day. Myself, I got it one day, but my kid never acquired it. Other include yet never acquired he. Conduct acid batteries, utilized in cars, power supplies and sunny force store, are incorrectly processed in lot evolving countries, on to ecological non-profit clean land. In countries in rigorously forced regulation, specific machinery must be utilized in smelting to restrain ecological contamination. At conduct smelting in the joint state, for copy, filtering devices are required for contamination monitoring. Kenya law says he's illicit to contaminate the nation's air and water supply, but it does not indicate how a conduct melting furnace must perform in such laws. In 2015, Against Pollution Guard Dog Clean Land put out a declaration how declared the incorrect recirculation of conduct acid batteries to be one of the guideline reason of conduct poison world. Big as these numbers are, they are nearly surely underestimates, the declaration reads. Following Omido-driven catheter in Okolo, in the clinic, doctors undiagnosed the 35-year-old mom in kidney fail, a sign of persistent conduct poison, on to the CDC, and ordered renal dialysis treatment. In March, she died of body fail. David Mahola, one of the some villagers Omido attended how date, would as well dead. His household share aside in the melting furnace. As for the litigation, trial transactions include been detained 8 times. But Omido keeps expect the magistrate will guideline in their benefit, and quickly. She wants the residents of Owino Uhuru to be uncompensated for their affliction. But she as well wants to go on in her lifetime. She's weary of residing in concealment, she says, and would love to depart previous. Perhaps go to a remotely farmer sometime and lift goats and herd, she adds. My son hasn't had lot of a infancy, Omido says grimly. He can never be one, he can be stretched out of high school at any minimum. He doesn't include a regular lifetime. And isn't how which all deserves.